go ahead and start. Tell me how many years you've been.
I think 11.
11 years. Leading and?
As a student and leading, yeah.
Yeah.
My name's Tom Agard. It's my wife, Bianca. We went on a Panama trip with Captain. Yeah. Is that it?
Yep.
Well, he already introduced me, so.
Captain Iglesias.
I'm Tom McAndrews. I led a trip to Gabon, West Africa, and I graduated from Wheaton in 2004.
Adam Rare, led the team to Mexico, graduated in 2014. This is my fourth trip, first as a leader.
I'm Kevin Engel. I work in the development office. I was part of the DR team. Good to be with you guys again. This is my wife, Jan, and I'm an 84 grad.
Luke Van Dyke, I'm a senior. Been on 4 WFMP trips. Helped lead the trip to Uganda with Jeff Ford, who isn't here, but yeah, went to Uganda.
I want to share a few words from 4 of the leaders. I'll start with Jeff Lane from Gabon. Jeff says, "Wow, what a week, I'm exhausted. But it was wonderful. At our last dinner prior to dropping them off at the airport, I told the guys this was one of the best weeks I have had here at Bungalow. The students are great young men of God. Tom is an excellent leader and godly role model. The entire team worked well together, were respectful of our team and hospital staff here, and bonded well. It was joy to work with them all week. And despite only having 4 working days on campus, the guys made the most of it. I shared with them the night they arrived, not to be focused on the task, but on the relationships. The roofing project task ended up being not as exciting as build, only required 1 or 2 of the boys, but that was fine as it afforded those interested in medicine to spend time at the hospital, and a highlight for them, no one fainted." And then he just goes on to say a few things, highlights of playing basketball and soccer with the kids. Jeff Ford, the WFMP trip to Uganda this past March was a tremendous success for the Lord, for Wheaton football, and for Man Up and Go, for our pastor partners in Uganda, and for the people they serve day in and day out. The team visited 3 different locations, conducted various projects for our ministry partners, including reinforcing a chain link with concrete, conducting several feeding programs to over 1,000 children, encouraged the Man Up cohorts going through the Authentic Masculinity program, and visited businesses of those who received microloans. They competed in a historic soccer match that was played on local radio, and in which the mayor showed up, built a concrete stage from scratch, and played the role of father to lots and lots of fatherless children who have none to call their own. And it goes on. I will send these to your emails tomorrow. How many guys, what was the estimate of how many people watched that game?
Second game?
A couple thousand. That's pretty awesome. And we only we lost 1-0.
Tied.
Tied. He goes on, Jeff goes on to give something to each one of you guys, a characteristic, which will not take that time. Kyle Bradley from Dominican Republic. WFMP week always comes at the perfect time. The impact that we're having in the DR and the community of Hade Diake is amazing. This week, each year provides role models to look up to. Christian men seeking to make a difference, athletes seeking to leverage their gifts from God to have an impact for His kingdom. I am always so encouraged through conversations with the players and through watching how the standard of Wheaton football is not changing. I appreciate the sacrifice each year, and we are blessed by this partnership. And then Guy East from Mexico. The week with Wheaton football was hugely transformational this year. We had a very busy time serving the Lord in various capacities during the day, and having great discussions about difficulties we face as athletes in the evenings. There were 3 things that stood out. The deportee and rehab centers, where we were able to share testimonies and spend time with men that have experienced very challenging lives. The home build was a highlight as we built a home for a single mother living on a few dollars a day. We were able to share Christ's love through tangibly building a roof over their heads. I don't know where the rest of it went. Anyway, the guy was very impressed again. to know that these guys took personal time and or vacation time to go with you. That's highly impressive. These are guys that have gone before. I've been very impressed with their role model to you guys who are men in the past in their faith, and they care about Wheaton football and about you guys a lot. I just want to share 4 points, and I'm stalling a little bit because the video's still being worked on a little bit. The bond had a little glitch. We're still working on that. We might show that separately. Started with the very first at Chicago Airport, right? 2 hours late. But here are 4 points. I shared this with DR, so you guys, this is going to be familiar to you. But I want you guys to continue to be influenced. And the way you are influenced correctly and rightly as Christians, number 1, read your Bible. Read your Bible from cover to cover. Be influenced, because that's what happens when you spend a lot of time to know and understand what you read. Cover to cover. The Bible is living and active and very relevant to our lives, even today. I say this in a letter that I send to guys that are getting married. The 10 Commandments are not old-fashioned. They're not old-fashioned. People are trying to water them down or get rid of them. The 10 Commandments are very, very applicable today. 2, prayer. You need to pray. Consistent, persevering prayer. And it's okay to struggle through your prayer. There's no, I know we've been giving a model of how to pray, but you know what? The Lord knows your heart. He wants to know what's going on in your life. And the way you do that is by talking to Him. He listens. And then listening. Personally listening. If we're not multitasking, then, nowadays, then we're not keeping up with life. That's the expectation, right? So put all that stuff away and go somewhere quiet, meditate on what you've read, and listen. And let the Holy Spirit grab your heart. And then lastly, each of us have a story. We're told that we need to be enlarging our community as Christians. I told you guys before you left a couple of times that when you get on that plane, all you guys get on a plane, people are going to notice. And they're going to, when you sit down, they're going to ask. And I hope some of you guys have those conversations. But what a great start to a trip when someone asks you what you're doing. Why are all these guys, with these T-shirts on? Where are you going and what's up? And I'm a Wheaton football player. I go to a Christian school, and there goes the conversation. Enlarge our community by telling their story. When was the last time you talked to a non-believer about Jesus? It's pretty hard and tough sometimes, I know, when we're here a week. But those are opportunities we have on these trips. And then lastly, be the one that is so contagious that others want it, so different they are curious to ask, and be the reflection more and more of Jesus to others. That's what we need to be doing every day. So, now is our time of sharing. And I've been telling you guys over and over throughout practice and stuff, remember your stories. Number 1, because you need to write thank you notes. That's my hint right now, get those thank you notes going. Some of you guys owe me thank you notes for the grants or an alum that might have sent in a check for you guys. I need to get those. I've got in a couple, but I think I got about 6 or 7 more. So get those letters done, send those to me, the ones that need to be sent, but get them out. And some people say, who do I send them to? I'd send it to everybody you sent a letter to, even if they didn't get it. The great thing about that is we're expanding Wheaton College. Not everybody knows about Wheaton. If you're writing to friends, family, and church, expand Wheaton College. Let them know what you got to be a part of. So, I'm not going to pry. I'm going to go sit down, but who's going to start? Someone stand up and share a story. Get this thing going. Stand, yep, you're on camera. No, you can stay there.
Coming to Cuba, you can tell pretty diverse.
Speak up.
You gotta speak up.
You can tell it was a pretty diverse group, and
some of the guys I've never interacted with or even, had a conversation with. But, moving forward throughout the week, you could tell like barriers are starting to come down, and just guys were more open and started to, get together, and even the girls as well. So a story that I want to talk about was when half the group had to go work. We were painting, setting up electrical stuff, and the other half had to just go visitation and go talk to people in the community who couldn't make it out to church, whether it was from physical disabilities or age or something like that. But the attitude throughout the whole trip, even the people who wanted to work but had to go visitation or vice versa, everyone's attitude was positive, and you could just tell the group was really getting along. And that's just something, I guess, on all my trips is something that's been really important, is that the guys you go on these trips with, when you leave, you're just going to get so much closer with them. That's just, how this program is brought up with, and, just the hard work you guys put into everything, and then that just reflects on, and shows through the work you guys put in the community. So, just wanted to share that.
Next. The ice has been broken.
I went to Mexico. I went with a group of guys that, to be honest, I never thought I would get close to. I could probably say this trip was the highlight of my life. It was amazing working with kids and just seeing how God works in mysterious ways. But getting closer, listening to all the guys' testimonies every night, I think it made us get a lot closer. And just, we have a bond now, I think, that can never be broken. Like Swider always says, those are probably going to be the guys at your wedding for the best man. So, the story, I guess. Me, Keon, and Will, when we were building the family, we went to the grocery store and we had, Will, you remember how much was it? How much money we had?
It was like $250 American dollars.
So it was like about $250, and we told the family they could get anything they want, anything at all. We told the little girl, the two daughters, they could get anything they want. So the little girl, of course, went crazy. She grabbed a bunch of toys and just went crazy. And then we went by this section that had like towels and all this stuff, and there was like a little pool, and she went crazy. She grabbed the pool, she looked at me, I looked at the mom, and I was like, it's up to you. And she said, okay, get it. She was like, I need a pool. It's so hot sometimes. I don't have nothing to do. So she went crazy. She was so happy. And just seeing that, just bringing joy to people, just really changes everything. So it was an awesome time.
Alright, so I went to Uganda, and something that I know I will always remember is kind of like what Coach Welch said. We went and played a soccer game against the whole town. So we were driving to the countryside in Uganda to Palisa, and we stopped in this town, Kibuku. Was it Kibuku? Or Palisa, I don't know. And yeah, the whole town came out and watched us play. The mayor was there, and it was just crazy to see all these people come out and just to see us play a soccer game against their men. After it was done, we all kind of circled up, and kind of like the whole crowd came around us, and the mayor came and talked, and he said it was such a blessing and a historical day for their town. But the reason why these Americans were here was because of the war, and it was because of Jesus Christ that this happened, and kind of used that platform to preach the gospel to the whole crowd. So it was just really cool to see someone literally preaching to the class, evangelizing and kind of being a part of that, especially in the countryside where most of them are Muslims. So being a part of a time where maybe people were hearing the gospel for the first time was something really, really cool.
Leaders, you guys can share as well.
I can do something.
Lisa?
So I went to Cuba, and we partnered up with a church there, and that's like we spent most of our time with the Cuban church there. So we were with other believers most of the time, and like Kevin mentioned, we did visitations. And some of them were non-believers, but most of them were just like elderly or sick or disabled people who just were kind of isolated because of their situation. So we connected with a lot of Cuban Christians, and I had never really like thought of this before, but it's something that was a really big part of the trip, at least for me, but I think probably for our whole group, is just that, like, every moment and interaction spent with the Cuban Christians, like, we really felt like how much us being there and I guess just like taking the time and the expense to come visit them and want to help their church out, like how much that meant to them. And I guess being in Cuba and not being as connected with the rest of the world. So I just had never really thought about like Christians like other countries, like being impacted by like other Christians in different countries, like wanting to be connected with them and like wanting to support each other, and just seeing how much that meant to them and how much they valued that. I guess I realized more like how important that is as Christians. Like we're connected with like Christians across the whole entire world, not just like in our church here or in our community here. And like just hearing them like, you know, wanting to know about our lives and then just being like, well, now that I know who you are, now that I know your name, like me and my family will be praying for you like forever. Like that was super impactful. And I'm like, I should be doing that too. Like I know these people, I know their names, I know their stories. Like I can be praying for them. And like I think that's a huge thing that I learned about like God and like the family that He's put us into over the years.
I went to Cuba as well, and I think that this trip was really amazing just for two reasons. Just bouncing off that idea of just how Christ is the unifying thing in all Christians' lives. It's just the hospitality that the church showed us was something I've never experienced in my life. It was incredible. Like I just felt like family right away, and we felt that a lot in America, and it was just amazing seeing that different context and everything. So I think that was really awesome. But again, what I really loved about this trip was opening up to me like the heart of missions, you know. It was the first day in Havana. We basically the day was wrapping up. We got gelato. We were coming back to our hostels and everything, and we ended up like going to this town square, and we saw these kids playing soccer over there. And so I don't know how it happened exactly, but we jumped in and started playing soccer with them, and we were doing that for like, I don't know, it was a while, but personally, like, my eyes were closed to what this is all about, because I was thinking, okay, let's wrap this up, you know, I'm tired, I want to go to sleep, you know, but it was like every moment is an opportunity overseas in missions, and at the end of when we're done playing with them, we bring it all inside and we just say, hey guys, like, the reason why we play this sport, the reason why we're here is to glorify God, you know, we want to give you this soccer ball just as a little gift, a little token to you, and at that moment I was like, that's what it's all about, you know. Like every moment is an opportunity, and it's just Like that completely guided our mission throughout the week, is that every moment is an opportunity to glorify God, you know? I think that was really great, so.
Okay, I'm Kevin. As I said, I was on the DR trip, and the highlight for me was really just watching the relationships of the guys on this team and the way that they cared for each other, helped each other, harassed each other. I mean, they treat each other like true brothers. There was one time when we were digging a ditch to put this concrete block wall down inside the ditch. It was maybe 3 feet deep. And as we were digging it along this property line, some of you guys remember there was one part of the ditch that got to smell pretty ripe. And as we got deeper and deeper into it, we realized that there was a little shack right on the edge of the property line, and it was draining what certainly smelled like raw sewage directly into this ditch. And we noticed that our shovels were getting, like it was sticking to our shovels, it was sticking to our boots, and some guys would go down there and pretty soon they'd say, oh, I can't stand the smell, somebody else, and they'd hop out of the hole. And another guy would hop in there and he'd take the time just digging out this raw sewage. And so, you know, Phil was down there for a while, he'd hop out, then Sam would, then Cam would, and a lot of guys just took turns. And it was just really inspiring to watch these guys. No job is too dirty. They're just ready to jump down there and put in as much time as they could no matter the smell. So thanks guys for that example.
Okay, so my Okay, I went to Panama. I'm Jeff, went to Panama, and one of my highlights was seeing one of the other guys on my trip, Luke Rogers. He's probably like the biggest human that these human people have ever seen. He's like, their average like 5'3", like they're pretty small people, and there's these kids who just like loved him. And he got really burned the first day, and they were calling him like Big Red. But like, you know, and no matter what they called him, like no matter what they would, like they hit him and stuff, but he was always just there to like love him. And we hadn't showered like all week. We were sleeping in hammocks. It's kind of nasty sometimes, and like we were painted all day, but he would always just hang out with them, learned all their names really fast, and it was just really encouraging when you see that. So.
I'm Griffin, and I went on Uganda, and it was an unbelievable trip. Honestly, we had a really great group of guys, super fun. Luke did an awesome job, was super encouraged by the way he led and was on top of things. But something that really impressed me about the trip and was really impactful was the cohorts that Man Up and Go partners with over there. So what they really want to do is enable and empower authentic masculinity in the areas that they're partnering with churches over there. So we got to sit in on like a men's group where they pretty much talked about what it looks like to be a better father, what it looks like to be a better husband, follower of Christ, and then also applying like practical business advice and models for them to apply to their businesses and actually like make money in the long term in order to fulfill those things and provide for their family. So we got to actually go around to all the different cohorts of businesses and pray over the businesses with them, which was unbelievable and cool to see how they were applying what Man Up and Go pastors were kind of teaching them. And so just really seeing like practical application of like, you know, they say like teach a man to fish and he eats for a lifetime. It was like really awesome to see how they were doing that in a really like tangible way, not just coming in and like doing everything for them, but rather like empowering the local people there. So that was like incredibly cool, and I want to share that.
Well, my name is Garrett Bolger, and I got to go on the Gabon trip this year to Africa. One of the biggest highlights from this trip was the relationships that our group got to build with each other, and also with the people who we got to work with down there. We went to the trip, like we had a small group of guys, about 6 people, didn't really know each other very well going into the trip, but we bonded very quick. You know, a couple of delayed flights and like a 24 layover in Paris, which was unexpected, but we got it quick. It called about a 9-hour car drive. But one of the coolest things we got to do down there was just to build relationships with the people that we worked with. We only had 4 days. We got to do a little bit of work on the roof. We got to do some shadowing in the hospital. And then like every day we got to play some basketball, football, some soccer with some kids. And it was a brief time, but we got to build some really cool relationships with those kids and with the adults we were with. And I said that most of us, we definitely want to stick with us another week to continue to foster the relationships. And we're looking forward to going back hopefully again to sustain it. But, yeah.
I'll piggyback off what Garrett was saying. I was in Italy as well, and it became pretty evident very early on that our plans are different than God's plans, and sometimes we need to lay down our plans. In fact, within the first hour of our trip, we're sitting at O'Hare about to embark on a 48-hour, or what we thought was going to be a 48-hour to our final destination. About an hour in, we figured out that our flight was delayed by 2 hours, which meant that we were going to miss our flight from Detroit to Paris, which meant that we were going to miss our flight from Paris to Gabon. So we unfortunately had to spend 24 hours in Paris, France, which was miserable. But I think what we all talked about this afterwards, and we debriefed afterwards, what we learned is these guys not only had a great attitude throughout the whole thing, but we just learned that God has much bigger plans for us. The roof work that we were scheduled to do didn't really transpire the way that we expected it would, but instead we were able to focus our time there in relationships. And that's something that holds eternal value and can last forever. So it was really a great reminder for all of us that plans that we have are nothing compared to God's plans. And He really utilized us to form relationships with each other, with the kids that we came in contact with, and also with Jeff Lane, who's the vet who visited out there. So, yeah.
So I'm Ben. I went to Panama. And I guess just most of what I wanted to share was one actually, this guy named Lenny that we met. And he's about this tall, he looks about my chin. He's a really little guy, but he was always kind of around helping out. At first, I didn't really notice him. He was just kind of there, like helping us get the island. But as I just kind of got to know him better, and he was sort of the guy kind of taking us everywhere. He's sort of like our guide on the islands. And as much later on in the week, we were in a conversation with them named Captain Iglesias, and we were talking about alligators because we're right outside the jungle. And he mentioned that, yeah, he got attacked by an alligator. We're like, oh, wow, that's great to tell us. And so he started talking about it, and through translation, and it was basically like this little guy he was diving down underwater, just fishing, and when he came up, he got bit in the head by an alligator. Then he pried it off his head and started choking it out with salt water until it ran away from him. And he pulled it out, and he just kind of pulled us out. Like, he didn't want to tell us, but we kind of dragged it out of him. And it was just like, wow, this guy is like the most manly man I've ever met. It was funny because I think a lot of us that signed up for that trip were like, this sounds like an intense trip. We want to be like, we're going to go do like the really hard trip, like sleeping in hammocks, riding on these crazy boat rides. Like that's what we're here to do. We're really big compared to them. Like we're like 4 times the size of everybody on the island. We're really doing some awesome stuff for them. Like they can't handle the stuff we can handle. And just that story was like, yeah, no, there's people out there that are just so much more manlier and awesome than you guys are. But it just really made me realize that like going down there wasn't about like doing stuff that they couldn't do, but rather just building the relationship with them and letting them know that there's other people out there that are willing to just come down and pay their church for them. Yeah, and I just thought it was fun.
There's nobody here from risk management, I hope.
Went to the DR,
So I made a list of things that I don't want to forget now that I'm back in the States. And I'll expand upon a couple of them, but it's short. So Kyle Bradley, Go Ministries, Kylie Houck's testimony, Cam Carter's layup mans, really freaking competitive basketball games, the Trench Gang, the Hole, Hato Yaki, and then stories. So Kyle Bradley, Go Ministries, that's who we were connected with down in the DR. And Kyle Bradley works with the sports ministries down there. And their mission is to go and equip Dominicans to empower Dominicans, to disciple Dominicans. And it was just awesome getting to know him. And kind of getting, as a group, discipled by him. Also, Kylie Houck's testimony. Can't explain. That's for her, I guess. But I think it was really impactful on a lot of people on the trip. Cam Carter's layup mans, which are like jump mans. They're off-brand Jordans, but with a guy doing a layup that he found. It's all about it. Basketball games, they just got too competitive, which is just weak football in a nutshell, I guess. Like Kevin said, the trenches all week. It was for a baseball field that was close to the church that we were partnered with. And like you said, we ran into a little bit of sewage on the way. So took some bravery to be down there at times. The Hole, which was a trash don't turn community in the center of the city that we were in. In our last day there, we went through it to the church that Go Ministries was partnered with, and got to see really a level of poverty that I never seen before. And something that kind of stuck with me was we were playing with jump ropes with kids there, and despite their circumstance, despite, mounds of hundreds of trash, these kids are fine. I don't know if that's the Lord or the human spirit, but material wealth, just not anything. We just love joy outside of that. So Hato Yaki, that's where we stay, so just that town. And up until that point, before going to the Hole, that was the most poverty that I've ever seen. And then stories. Hearing the stories from everybody each night, I think that's one of the biggest things that we get from these trips, especially on our trip. It was just a unique group. A bunch of younger guys, me and Cam Carter. So I freaking love getting to know you guys and love getting to know these stories.
Couple more.
Alright. I'm Wyatt. I went to Cuba. So this was one of the most impactful trips of my life. So I just wanted to speak on some of the doors God opened. We fly into Cuba, and they didn't we don't have our visas ready, or they didn't have our religious visas. So we're just chilling for 2 hours. Corey's over here tweaking. And we're just kind of chilling through the customs for 2 hours. And then the Cuban people are going back and forth, and then this lady she grabs us all and just hurries us through customs without visas. Some of us, half of us don't have visas. So technically we were illegal immigrants into Cuba for 3 days. So yeah, that was just the door getting in. We get our visas later, but that was funny. And then just another door that I thought was really cool was just the language barrier. I was expecting it to be just a train wreck. I was going to be saying I couldn't even say my name or in Spanish. But that was really really cool. The translators helped us a lot. And Spanish I didn't know came back really quickly. So building relationships is really easy.
Good.
All right, so I went to Uganda, and just to start off, for guys who went on a trip or who have been on trips, I just want you guys to take a second to think about the opportunity that it is. Like, how many people get to travel internationally, go to a different country, and how many more of those people get to do it with their best friends or soon-to-be best friends? Like, the reality of that is an awesome thing. It's such a blessing that we get to do that and to go on these trips. And they're memories that you will remember forever. I mean, for our trip in Uganda, we're literally warming up for a soccer match in Uganda in the middle of nowhere, and they're playing Waka Waka over the speakers as we warm up, which was the theme for the World Cup when it was in South Africa. And you're like, there's 2,000 people at the soccer game, like, what is going on? Like, just stuff like that, or whether you're going in Havana for a week, or taking a crazy boat ride to Panama, and however long that takes to get to where you guys were at. Like, that's stuff that you guys are going to remember. The people who are on the trips, you're going to remember those moments. And so that's kind of a little story from Uganda, just that soccer match. But I think something that's stuck with me from the trip is seeing the faithful work of the pastors, the cities that we visited. So we were in 3 different places: Masese 3, Kibuku, and Palisa. And within those areas, there are pastors who are doing incredible work in really dismal, really bleak, really tough situations. And one of them is Pastor Sam. We didn't get to spend a lot of time with him because he was going on an evangelism tour, because he's a pastor out in Palisa, and he regularly will debate and speak with the Muslim leaders in their town, and the stories that he can tell of escaping near-death situations, and just the faithful ministry of Pastor Sam and his wife, who